They will try to hold you back. They will try to break you. They will try to stop you. It's almost guaranteed. Your family might doubt you, your friends could discourage you, and society will probably tell you to just stay in your place. But here's the secret they don't tell you. The only person who can truly stop you is you. Everything else? It's just noise. Every obstacle is just a test. Every person trying to hold you back is really just showing you their own limits, not yours. The moment you understand this, the moment you truly internalize this truth, you become unstoppable. Not because nothing can hurt you, but because nothing can control you anymore. This is about building an internal power so strong that you cannot be held back, broken, or stopped. Not by people, not by circumstances, not even by fate. The great strategist Niccolò Machiavelli spent his life studying power. He saw how the strong survived and the weak perished. He watched people rise from nothing while others who had everything lost it all. And he discovered the secret. Power isn't given, it's taken. Strength isn't inherited, it's built. Freedom isn't granted, it's claimed. But before we go deeper, let me be absolutely clear. This knowledge is for building yourself up, not for tearing others down. Use it to become unbreakable, not to break others. The goal is to make yourself so strong on the inside that external forces lose their grip on you. Today, you'll discover the lessons that make you impossible to hold back, break, or stop. Right now, I want you to drop this affirmation in the comments. Nothing external controls my destiny. And if this message is already resonating with you, please hit that like button. Don't forget to subscribe and ring the notification bell so you never miss content that strengthens you. Also, tell me in the comments, has someone ever tried to hold you back? Did you let them, or did you rise anyway? Your story could be the spark of inspiration someone else needs today. Now let's unlock the power that makes you unstoppable. First up, number 1. Destroy the need for approval. The moment you need other people's validation is the moment they own you. When their opinion matters more than your own judgment, you've handed them your power. Every time you change your path because someone disapproves, you've let them stop you. This is the first chain you absolutely must break. Machiavelli famously wrote, "It is better to be feared than loved if you cannot be both." What he was really getting at is this: when you desperately need to be loved, when you need that approval, you become controllable. People who need approval will compromise their values, abandon their dreams, and even betray themselves just to hear someone say, "I'm proud of you." It's a form of slavery disguised as connection. Here's the brutal truth about approval. It's an addiction. The first time someone validates you, it feels amazing and you want more. So you start adjusting your behavior to get that next hit of approval. Before you know it, you're not living your life. You're performing for an audience. You're not making decisions based on what you want. You're making them based on what will be applauded. This is how people spend their entire lives living someone else's dream. Think about how this plays out. You want to start a business, but your parents say it's too risky. If you need their approval, you stay in a job you hate. They've stopped you without laying a hand on you. You want to leave a toxic relationship, but your friends say you should just work it out. If you need their approval, you stay and suffer. They've held you back with just their words. You want to follow an unconventional path, but society says it's not respectable. If you need society's approval, you conform. They've broken your spirit without ever touching you. The pattern is always the same. Needing approval gives other people veto power over your life. They don't have to physically stop you. They just have to withhold their approval, and you stop yourself. Let me tell you about two aspiring artists, Sarah and Marcus. Sarah desperately needed her family's approval. Every time they expressed disappointment in her art, she felt crushed. Eventually, she gave up art entirely for a corporate job she hated. She spent 20 years resenting them, but they didn't force her. She chose their approval over her dreams. Marcus also faced disapproval from his family, but he didn't need their validation. He told them, "I love you, but I'm doing this with or without your support." He struggled, of course, but he built his career. Years later, his family was incredibly proud. But even if they weren't, he would still be doing what he loved. The difference wasn't talent or circumstances. The difference was who held the power. Sarah gave her family power over her life by needing their approval. Marcus kept his power by refusing to need it. Psychologically, this is about your locus of control. People with an external locus of control believe their lives are determined by outside forces. They need approval because they've given outsiders control of their self-worth. People with an internal locus of control know their outcomes are determined by their own actions. They don't need approval because their self-worth is self-generated. So how do you destroy this need for approval? First, recognize that other people's opinions are about them, not you. When someone disapproves of your choices, they're often projecting their own fears and limitations. Their disapproval is a window into their psychology, not a judgment on your potential. Second, separate love from approval. You can love people without needing their approval. You can value relationships without letting them control your decisions. Don't confuse the two. Third, make peace with disappointing people. This is crucial. You will disappoint people. You will fail to meet their expectations. It's unavoidable if you're living authentically. The real question is whether you can hold your course despite their disappointment. And fourth, build self-validation. Learn to approve of yourself based on your own standards. Ask yourself, am I living by my values? Am I making progress toward my goals? Am I being true to myself? If the answer is yes, then external disapproval is just noise. But here's a more sophisticated truth. Not needing approval doesn't mean being an arrogant jerk who ignores all feedback. It means you consider input without being controlled by judgment. You can listen to advice without needing validation. You can respect perspectives without requiring permission. The person who needs no approval is free to pursue any goal, take any risk, and become anything they're capable of becoming. Now, for number 2, weaponize your pain. Every betrayal, every failure, every moment of humiliation, these are not wounds that weaken you. They are the raw materials for building incredible strength. The very people who tried to break you actually gave you the fuel to become unbreakable. But only if you transform that pain into power, instead of letting it become poison. Machiavelli understood this completely. He wrote, "The lion cannot protect himself from traps, and the fox cannot defend himself from wolves. One must therefore be a fox to recognize traps, and a lion to frighten wolves." Pain teaches you to recognize those traps. Suffering teaches you how to become the lion that frightens the wolves. Every time someone hurts you, they're giving you a free lesson in how people operate. They are revealing strategies that you now know how to defend against. They are, without realizing it, training you for survival. Here's what most people do with pain. They let it define them. They become victims. They wear their wounds like badges and use them as excuses. I can't succeed because I was betrayed. I can't trust because I was hurt. I can't move forward because of what happened to me. This is choosing to stay broken. This is letting the person who hurt you continue to control your life years after the event. They've stopped you permanently without even trying. But smart people, powerful people, they do something completely different with pain. They study it. They get curious. They ask, what did this experience teach me? What weakness in me did this exploit? What do I need to change so this never happens again? They extract the lesson and discard the emotion. They use pain as education, not as an identity. Let me give you some concrete examples. Imagine someone betrays your trust in business. The victim response is, "People are terrible. I can't trust anyone." The power response is, "I trusted too quickly without verifying their character. I need better systems for evaluating people before giving them my trust." See? Same pain, completely different outcome. Or a relationship ends badly. The victim response is, "I'm not worthy of love. I'll never find anyone." The power response is, "I ignored red flags and stayed too long. I need to value myself more and leave when someone shows me they are not right for me." Same pain, completely different life trajectory. You fail at something important. The victim response is, "I'm not good enough. I should just quit trying." The power response is, "My approach was flawed. I need to learn more, try a different strategy, and persist longer. Same pain, completely different future. The pattern is clear. Victims let pain stop them. Warriors let pain strengthen them. There's a psychological principle for this. It's called post-traumatic growth. Research shows that people who go through difficult experiences often emerge stronger, wiser, and more capable than before. But, and this is a huge but, this only happens if they actively process the experience and extract value from it. If they just ruminate on the pain, they get weaker. If they analyze and adapt, they get stronger. So, how do you weaponize pain instead of being destroyed by it? First, you have to feel it completely. Don't suppress it or pretend it doesn't hurt. Acknowledge the pain. Cry, rage, grieve, whatever you need to do to process it. But set a time limit. Give yourself days or weeks, not years or decades. This isn't your new home. It's a temporary stop. Second, analyze it objectively. Once the initial storm of emotion passes, examine what happened like a scientist. What were the contributing factors? What were the warning signs you might have missed? What was your contribution to the situation? And what was completely outside your control? This process converts raw, painful emotion into valuable information. Third, extract the lessons. Every painful experience contains multiple lessons about human nature, about yourself, about how the world works. Identify these lessons explicitly. Write them down. Make them conscious so you can apply them going forward. Fourth, implement changes. Use the lessons you've learned to modify your behavior, your boundaries, your strategies. Let the pain change you in ways that make you stronger, not just bitter. If someone exploited your generosity, don't become cold and closed off. Become selective with your generosity. If someone betrayed your trust, don't decide to trust no one. Learn to trust more carefully. And fifth, move forward with the lessons, but without the baggage. Once you've extracted the value from the pain, you must let go of the emotion. Don't carry resentment, bitterness, or a victim mentality. This is dead weight that will only slow you down. Carry only the wisdom you've gained. Here's the most powerful part of this whole process. When you learn to transform suffering into strength, you become someone who cannot be broken by future suffering. You develop a kind of psychological immunity. You know you can survive anything because you've already survived so much and emerged stronger every time. The person who has been betrayed and learned from it can't be easily manipulated by the fear of betrayal again. The person who has failed and persisted can't be stopped by the fear of failure. The person who has been broken and rebuilt themselves can't be threatened by things that might break them, because they know they'll just rebuild, stronger than before. Your pain is not your weakness. Your pain is your education. The person who suffers and learns nothing remains fragile. The person who suffers and learns everything becomes unbreakable. The question is, which one are you? Now let's talk about the third key to unlocking this unbreakable mindset. Operate from your own code. Society's rules are often designed to control you, not to empower you. Following every single rule keeps you predictable, manageable, and frankly, weak. Having your own code, your own set of principles that you follow regardless of social pressure, this is what makes you powerful and unstoppable. Nobody can hold back someone who operates by their own rules. Machiavelli once wrote, "A prince ought to take care that he never lets anything slip from his lips that is not replete with the 5 qualities, that he may appear altogether merciful, faithful, humane, upright, and religious." Notice, he said, appear. He understood that public morality and your personal code are 2 different things. Your code should serve your success and your core values, not society's comfort. Here's the truth about rules. They exist to create order, which usually means keeping people in their assigned places. If you're at the bottom, many of the unspoken rules are designed to keep you there. Wait your turn. Don't make waves. Respect authority. Play it safe. Do what you're told. These are not universal truths. They are control mechanisms. Following them blindly guarantees you'll never rise above where you started. Look at every person who achieved something extraordinary. They broke rules. Not all rules, of course, but the specific rules that would have kept them small. Steve Jobs broke rules about how computers should work and how phones should function. Elon Musk breaks rules about what's possible in electric vehicles, space travel, and infrastructure. Oprah broke the rules about who gets to be a media mogul. Every revolutionary breaks the rules that would have prevented their revolution. But here's the key distinction. They didn't break rules randomly or for the sake of destruction. They operated from their own internal code. They had principles they would not violate. But those principles weren't always identical to society's rules. Let me explain how this works in your life. Your personal code should be based on your values and your goals, not on what makes other people comfortable. If your goal is to build wealth, but society tells you money isn't that important, whose rule do you follow? If your deepest value is freedom, but society says security is more important, whose code is going to govern your decisions? Building your own code means you decide what is right and wrong for you, based on your ultimate vision for your life. It means you stop seeking approval and start seeking results. It means you are willing to be misunderstood in the short term to achieve your long-term goals. This isn't a license to be a bad person. It's an instruction to be an effective one. Your code can and should include principles like integrity, kindness, and loyalty. But you define what those mean and to whom they apply. You become the architect of your own character. When you combine this, the ability to turn pain into power and the discipline to operate from your own code, you become a force of nature. You become someone who isn't just surviving life, but commanding it. Thanks for watching. If this resonated with you, hit that like button and subscribe for more content that helps you build an unbreakable mindset. See you in the next one. Tired of living by someone else's rules? Feeling like you're stuck in a script that society wrote for you? Today, we're tearing up that script. We're going to build your personal code, a framework that makes you unstoppable. Let's start with the foundation. First, you need to identify your non-negotiable values. These are the core principles you refuse to compromise on, no matter what. Is it absolute integrity in everything you do? Unshakable loyalty to your family? Or maybe it's the freedom to live life on your own terms. Write these down. These are the bedrock of your code. Second, get brutally honest about your primary goals. What do you truly want to achieve in this one life you have? Not what your parents want for you, not what your friends think is cool, but what you want. Once you have that clarity, you can instantly see which rules help you get there and which ones are just holding you back. Third, and this is where it gets interesting, you must consciously decide which social rules to follow and which to break. Look, you don't have to break every rule. Many laws and social norms are useful. Laws against violence, for example, protect you just as much as they restrict you. But what about the unwritten rules? The ones that whisper, don't take risks, don't stand out, just wait your turn. Depending on your goals, these are the very rules you might need to shatter. And the fourth, most crucial step, communicate your code through your actions, not your words. Don't go around announcing, hey everyone, I'm operating by a new set of rules now. Just live it. People respect demonstrated boundaries far more than declared ones. Let your actions speak so loudly that you don't have to say a word. Let's look at some real-world examples of how this plays out. Here's a common social rule. You should stay in a stable job even if you hate it because it's safe. But your personal code might say, life is too short to spend 40 hours a week being miserable. I will pursue work that energizes me, even if it's risky. So what happens? You quit that soul-crushing job. You might struggle for a bit, sure, but eventually you build something that you're genuinely passionate about. You chose autonomy over security. Here's another one. Social rule. You have to maintain relationships with certain people because family is family, or we've been friends forever, even if they're toxic. Your code, however, says, my energy and mental peace are my most valuable assets. I only maintain relationships that are positive, or at the very least, neutral. The result? You make the difficult decision to cut off those toxic connections. You might feel a pang of guilt at first, but it's quickly replaced by a profound sense of peace and clarity that allows you to thrive. How about this one? Social rule. Be humble. Don't promote yourself because that's arrogant. Your code counters with, if I don't advocate for myself, who will? Strategic self-promotion is a necessary tool for success, so you start actively sharing your achievements, making people aware of your skills and your value. And what happens? You start getting opportunities that others, who are quietly waiting to be noticed, never even see. And one more for good measure. The classic social rule. You should slowly work your way up the ladder, pay your dues, and wait your turn. But your code declares, results matter more than time served. If I can deliver exceptional value and skip a few rungs, I'm going to do it. The outcome? You might face some resentment from peers who are playing by the old rules, but you achieve your goals years ahead of schedule. The psychological principle at play here is known as moral autonomy versus heteronomy. Heteronomy is when you blindly follow external rules and codes passed down by society, parents, or authority figures. Moral autonomy, on the other hand, is when you develop your own internal moral compass, your own reasoning and principles. Studies show that people with high moral autonomy are more resilient, more successful, and report higher life satisfaction. Why? Because they aren't trapped in a constant internal battle between what society expects of them and what they truly want for themselves. But, and this is a critical warning, operating by your own code does not mean being unethical or immoral. It's not a license to hurt people or break just laws. The foundation of your code must always be ethics and legality. Stealing is wrong, period. Harming others is wrong, period. Your personal code is about the freedom you have above that foundation. Society might have a prepackaged life plan for you. Get a corporate job, buy a house in the suburbs, retire at 65. If your personal code says you'd rather travel the world, work remotely from a laptop, and achieve financial freedom by 40, you're not being immoral for rejecting society's plan. You're being autonomous. You're choosing your own adventure. When you truly live by your own code, you become immune to manipulation, shame, guilt, social pressure. These tools lose their power over you because you're not playing by the rulebook they come from. You're playing your own game. People can disapprove, but they can't redirect you. They can judge you, but they can't stop you. Now, let's talk about the single biggest thing that holds people back, even when they have a code. It's number 4 on our list of unstoppable traits. Eliminate all escape routes. Most people don't fail because their goals are impossible. They fail because they give themselves a comfortable backup plan. They build an escape hatch into their dreams. When you give yourself an easy way out, your brain will subconsciously look for it the moment things get tough. But when you burn the ships, when there is no retreat, you have no choice but to move forward and find a way. The brilliant and ruthless strategist Machiavelli wrote about this. He said that a leader prospers when they adapt their strategy to the times. But here's the catch. You only truly adapt when you must adapt. When you have a safe alternative, you don't adapt, you retreat. People don't become resourceful when they have plenty of resources. They become resourceful when their back is against the wall and they have no choice but to innovate. Think about the problem with backup plans. They whisper a dangerous message to your subconscious. It's okay to fail at this because we have plan B. You think you're being smart and practical, but what you're really doing is giving yourself permission to not give your all to plan A. As soon as your main goal presents a real challenge, your mind says, "This is hard. Remember that safe option? Let's just do that instead." This thought alone sabotages your commitment and drastically reduces your chance of success. Think about the most successful people in history, or even in your own life. How many of them had a comfortable fallback option? Very few. Most went all in. They pushed all their chips to the center of the table on one path, and failure simply wasn't an option they were willing to entertain. They made success inevitable by making failure unbearable. Let me give you a concrete example you've probably seen. Someone wants to start a business, but they keep their full-time job just in case. On the surface, this sounds logical, right? But what really happens? They only work on their business in their spare time, when they feel motivated. They avoid taking the necessary risks because they're afraid of jeopardizing their stable income, their backup plan. Years go by, and the business never gets off the ground because it never received their full, undivided commitment. The just in case became the reason it failed. So, how do you do this? You create consequences for quitting. You make public declarations. You invest money you can't afford to lose. You put yourself in a position where the only way out is through. By building a personal code and eliminating your escape routes, you're not just hoping for success, you're engineering it. You're creating a system where your own psychology, your own values, and your own actions are all aligned toward a single purpose. That is the essence of becoming unstoppable. Thanks for watching. If this resonated with you, hit that like button and subscribe for more content on how to design a life on your own terms. See you in the next video. Have you ever wondered why some people achieve extraordinary things while others, with similar talent, just spin their wheels? The difference isn't always skill or luck. Often it's about one radical decision, eliminating all escape routes. Think about it. Imagine someone who wants to start a business. They tell everyone, "I'm going to try this on the side, see how it goes." They keep their day job, protect their savings, and basically have a big comfy safety net. If the business struggles, what happens? They retreat. They say, "Well, at least I tried," and go back to their old life. No harm, no foul, but also no real growth. Now compare that to someone who quits their job, invests their savings, and publicly declares, "I am an entrepreneur." Failure for them isn't just a setback, it's financial ruin and public humiliation. They have no backup plan. What do you think happens? They work with a desperate intensity. They innovate, they pivot, they hustle, they find a way to make it work because they have to. They've burned their ships, leaving no path back to their old, comfortable shore. This isn't just about business. It's a pattern you see everywhere. Someone wants to get fit, but keeps junk food in the house, just in case. Or because it's wasteful to throw it out. That just in case is their escape route. When willpower gets low late at night, they'll use it, sabotaging their own goals. The person who succeeds? They clear their environment. When a craving hits, there's no easy way out. They have to push through it. Over time, that push builds discipline, the cravings weaken, and new healthy habits are forged. Or what about social anxiety? Someone wants to be more outgoing but always gives themselves an out. "I'll go to the party if I'm feeling up to it." That "if" is their escape hatch. More often than not, they won't feel up to it, because stepping out of your comfort zone is, by definition, uncomfortable. They stay home, and their world stays small. Contrast that with the person who commits publicly. They tell their friends, "I'll be there," and ask them to hold them accountable. They buy the ticket, they make the plans. They remove the option of backing out easily. Even when they feel anxious, they show up. And by repeatedly showing up, they prove to themselves they can handle it. The anxiety starts to lose its power. You see the pattern here? Escape routes feel safe, but they are the silent killers of dreams. They guarantee you'll never have to push past your limits. Burning your ships, on the other hand, feels terrifying, but it forces you to discover capabilities you never knew you had. There's a psychological principle at play here called the Yerkes-Dodson law. It shows that our performance actually increases with stress and challenge, but only up to an optimal point. The problem is, most of us never even get close to that peak performance zone. The moment we feel a little pressure, we retreat to comfort. We take the escape route. When you strategically eliminate those routes, you force yourself into that zone where real growth and peak performance happen. So, how do you do this? How do you burn your ships without being reckless? First, make public commitments. Tell people what you're going to do. Post it on social media, tell your friends, tell your family. This creates social pressure. Suddenly backing out isn't just disappointing yourself, it's admitting failure to everyone you know. That accountability is a powerful motivator. Second, create financial stakes. Invest money you can't afford to lose in your project. Sign a contract with a penalty for quitting. When failure has a real financial cost, you will find creative ways to succeed. Money is a language our brain understands very well. Third, remove the physical escape routes. If you're serious about your health, purge your kitchen of all the junk. If you're moving to a new city to start over, sell or give away everything that ties you to your old life. Make retreating physically difficult, if not impossible. And fourth, tie your identity to the goal. Don't just say, "I'm trying to be a writer." Say, "I am a writer." This isn't just semantics. It's a profound psychological shift. When your goal is part of your identity, failure feels like a threat to your very sense of self. Quitting becomes psychologically unbearable. Now let me be clear. This is not about being foolish. You don't jump out of a plane without a parachute or bet your life savings on a business idea you haven't tested. The difference between calculated risk and pure recklessness is preparation. You do your homework, you make a reasonable plan, and then you commit fully. You don't keep one foot out the door just in case. You jump in with both feet. When you finally commit, when you truly eliminate your escape routes, something magical happens. Your creativity explodes. Your resourcefulness multiplies. Your persistence becomes unbreakable. Why? Because you have no other choice. Your back is against the wall. It's succeed or suffer. And in that state, you access a part of yourself you never knew existed. You find solutions that seemed impossible. You keep going long after others would have quit, because for you, quitting is simply not an option. The people in this world who are truly unstoppable are the ones who have stopped giving themselves the option to stop. They've made success the only acceptable outcome. So I ask you, are you ready to burn your ships? Or will you keep them safely anchored in the harbor, forever wondering why you never managed to sail very far? Now let's talk about another layer of power. Once you're committed, how do you ensure no one can stop you? The answer is to become strategically unpredictable. Think about it. When people can predict your every move, they can control you. They know your patterns, they know your limits, they know exactly which buttons to push to get the reaction they want. But when you become unpredictable, when your responses vary in ways they can't anticipate, you become impossible to manage. The great strategist Machiavelli wrote, "Never attempt to win by force what can be won by deception." But the ultimate deception isn't about lying. It's about being impossible to read. It's about forcing others to constantly second-guess themselves because you don't follow their expected script. When they can't predict you, they can't prepare for you. And when they can't prepare for you, they can't stop you. Let me show you how predictability creates weakness. If you always respond to insults with anger, anyone who wants to manipulate you will simply insult you. They know your anger will cloud your judgment and lead you to make mistakes. If you always back down when challenged aggressively, people will use aggression to stop you every single time. Your pattern of retreat guarantees their victory. Every predictable pattern is a vulnerability. So how do you use strategic unpredictability to create power? Sometimes you respond to a challenge with fierce aggression. Other times, you meet the same challenge with complete indifference, or maybe even humor. Nobody knows which version of you they're going to get, so they start to approach you with caution. Sometimes you take big, bold risks. Other times you play it safe and conservative. This keeps your opponents, competitors, and even your allies off balance. They can't box you in. By breaking your own patterns, you break the chains others use to control you. You become a force of nature, powerful, unreadable, and unstoppable. So burn your ships to unleash your own potential, and then become strategically unpredictable to protect your journey forward. Do that, and you'll not only sail far, but you'll also navigate any storm that comes your way. Thanks so much for watching. If this resonated with you, give this video a like and hit that subscribe button so you don't miss our next one. See you in the comments. Have you ever wondered why some people are just so captivating, so influential? They seem to have this invisible force field that makes you pay attention. What if I told you that you could cultivate that same power? And that the secret lies not in being consistent, but in being strategically unpredictable. This is all rooted in a psychological principle called intermittent reinforcement. Think about a slot machine. It's addictive, right? Why? Because you never know when it's going to pay out. That uncertainty, that unpredictability, is incredibly powerful. It keeps you hooked. The same logic applies to human interactions. A boss who sometimes gives praise and sometimes does not is often more influential than one who is always positive or always negative. The unpredictability makes the reward, when it comes, feel that much more significant. Now, let's be very clear. Strategic unpredictability isn't about being erratic, flaky, or unstable. That just pushes people away. The real sophistication here is in keeping your core values and your fundamental character as solid as a rock. People should know what you stand for. They should know you have principles. What they shouldn't know is exactly how you will apply those principles in any given situation. You maintain consistency in your character, but you introduce flexibility in your tactics. This powerful combination earns you a unique kind of respect. Respect for your integrity, coupled with a healthy dose of caution about your next move. So, how do you actually put this into practice? Let's break it down. First, you need to identify your own predictable patterns. We all have them. How do you normally react when you're stressed? When someone criticizes you? When an amazing opportunity pops up? Or when you're faced with conflict? These knee-jerk reactions are your vulnerabilities. They're the buttons people know they can push to get a specific response from you. Take a moment to really think about it. Are you always the peacemaker? Do you always fire back an email the second it hits your inbox? Do you always explain yourself to a fault? Write these patterns down. Awareness is the first step to change. Second, start consciously and deliberately varying your responses. Break your own patterns. If you're known for always replying to messages instantly, let one sit for a while. Think about your response. If you're the person who always over-explains their reasoning, try simply stating your decision and leaving it at that. No is a complete sentence. If you typically shy away from confrontation, the next time a conflict arises that truly matters, step into it. Address it directly, calmly, but firmly. The goal isn't to become a different person, but to expand your range of responses. It's about showing the world and yourself that you are not a one-trick pony. Third, and this is crucial, stop telegraphing your moves. So many of us do this without even realizing it. We make statements like, "Oh, I'm a very direct person," or "I just can't stand confrontation," or "I'm a big believer in second chances." What are you doing when you say these things? You're handing people the instruction manual on how to manage you. You're telling them exactly what to expect. Stop it. Let your actions do the talking, without a preview. The element of surprise is your ally. When people don't know what's coming, they have to pay closer attention. Fourth, observe how people react as you become more unpredictable. You'll notice a subtle but significant shift. They'll stop making assumptions about you. They'll start treating you with more consideration, more respect. Why? Because they don't want to accidentally trigger an unknown and potentially unfavorable response. They can no longer put you in a neat little box. When you master this, you become, in a sense, uncontrollable. People can't map your boundaries with certainty. They can't pinpoint your breaking point. They can't rely on your usual reactions to manipulate a situation. This doesn't make you a difficult person. It makes you a formidable one. They can't hold you back because they don't know where your limits are. They can't break you because they don't know what it takes. They can't stop you because they can't anticipate your next move. This is true power through unpredictability. But strategic unpredictability is only one piece of the puzzle. To become truly unstoppable, you need to build on that foundation. This brings us to the next law of power. Build multiple sources of it. If all your power, all your influence, all your self-worth comes from a single source, you are incredibly vulnerable. That one source can be taken away, and just like that, you're left with nothing. But when your power flows from multiple, independent streams, no single attack can bring you down. This is how you achieve true resilience. This is invulnerability. The great political strategist Machiavelli wrote about this centuries ago. He observed that leaders who depended on just one ally, one army, or one particular skill were always at risk of a sudden collapse. Power that's concentrated is fragile. Power that's distributed is resilient. Think about it in your own life. Every source of power you have is both an asset and a potential vulnerability. If your entire identity and influence come from your job title, what happens if you get laid off? Your power evaporates. If your power is based solely on your physical appearance, what happens as you naturally age? That power diminishes. If all your sense of security comes from one relationship, what happens if that relationship ends? You're left devastated. Relying on a single source of power is creating a single point of failure in your own life. Truly smart, powerful people understand this instinctively. They build a portfolio of power, diversified across different domains of life. They ensure that losing any one source, while perhaps painful, is not catastrophic. They remain powerful. So let's break down the different types of power you should be building simultaneously. First, there's skill-based power. This is about developing a range of valuable skills that create opportunities for you. Don't just aim to be a great programmer. Be a great programmer who also excels at public speaking, understands marketing, and can lead a team. Each additional skill opens up entirely new doors and creates new pathways to success. If technology changes and one skill becomes obsolete, your other skills keep you relevant and in demand. You're not just a specialist, you're a versatile asset. What skills can you add to your toolkit right now that would make you more valuable and independent? Second, build financial power. This isn't just about being rich. It's about having financial independence. This means creating multiple streams of income. Your 9-to-5 job is one stream. What about a side hustle? Investing in stocks or real estate, creating a digital product. When you have money coming in from different places, you're not beholden to any single employer. You have the freedom to walk away from a toxic job, to take risks, to pursue a passion project. Financial power buys you options, and options are freedom. Third, there's network power. This is the strength of your relationships. But again, it's about diversification. Don't just network with people in your own industry. Build genuine connections with people from all walks of life: artists, entrepreneurs, scientists, tradespeople. A strong, diverse network is an incredible source of information, opportunities, and support. If one part of your social circle fades away, you have other communities to lean on. Your network is your safety net and your launchpad. Fourth is knowledge-based power. Be a perpetual student. Read widely, outside of your immediate field. Study history, psychology, philosophy, science. The more you understand about how the world works, the better you can navigate it. Knowledge allows you to see patterns others miss and anticipate trends before they happen. It's a source of power that no one can ever take away from you. It lives inside your head. And finally, build physical power. This is about your health, energy, and vitality. When you are physically strong and resilient, you have the stamina to pursue your goals relentlessly. Regular exercise, a healthy diet, and good sleep aren't just health advice. They are power-building strategies. Your body is the vehicle for all your ambitions. If it breaks down, everything else stops. Prioritizing your physical well-being ensures you have the fuel to build and maintain all your other sources of power. By weaving together strategic unpredictability with a diversified portfolio of power, skills, finances, network, knowledge, and health, you create a version of yourself that is not just successful but truly unstoppable. You become adaptable, resilient, and influential in a way that is profound and lasting. Thank you so much for watching. If this resonated with you, I'd be so grateful if you'd like this video and subscribe to the channel for more insights on building a powerful life. I'll see you in the next one. Have you ever felt trapped, like your entire world could collapse if just one thing went wrong? Like if you lost your job, or a key relationship ended, you'd be completely lost. That feeling of vulnerability is real, and it comes from having a single point of failure. The secret to true unbreakable power isn't about building one massive fortress. It's about creating a network of power sources. Today, we're diving deep into the psychology of power and how you can become genuinely unstoppable. Let's start with resource-based power. This isn't just about money, though. That's a big part of it. Build your financial resources through savings and investments. Build your physical resources through consistent health and fitness routines. And build your intellectual resources through continuous learning. Each of these gives you something priceless: options. Financial freedom means you can walk away from a toxic job. Physical health means you have the energy to pursue your goals relentlessly. And knowledge means you can adapt to any change the world throws at you. Next, there's relationship-based power. But here's the key. Diversify your network. Don't just know people from your job or your neighborhood. Build connections across different industries, different cities, even different countries. Why? Because when you need help, advice, or an opportunity, having multiple independent sources dramatically increases your chances of finding it. If one network can't help, another one can. Your social capital becomes as resilient as your financial capital. Then we have reputation-based power. Your reputation is your most valuable currency, so don't limit it to one place. Don't just be the go-to person at your company. Be known in your entire industry. Be a voice in your community. Build a presence online. When your reputation exists in multiple contexts, it's incredibly difficult for any single person or event to tarnish it. More importantly, you can leverage that widespread reputation wherever you go, opening doors you didn't even know existed. And finally, knowledge-based power. The old advice was to become a deep expert in one thing. The new rule is to develop expertise in multiple domains. You don't have to be the world's leading expert in 3 different fields, but knowing several things at an intermediate level allows you to see connections and patterns that specialists miss. This cross-disciplinary thinking lets you innovate and operate in multiple arenas, making you uniquely valuable. Let me paint a picture for you. Meet Person A. They're a senior manager at a big company. Their title is everything. All their power, their identity, their security, it's tied to that job. They have no real savings. Their network is purely internal, and their skills are specific to that one company. One day, layoffs hit. Instantly, they are powerless. No job, no money, no connections, no clear path forward. Their single source of power vanished, and they are completely devastated. Now consider Person B, same title, same company, but they've been playing a different game. They have a year of living expenses saved and invested. They've been writing articles and speaking at industry conferences, building a public reputation. They've developed side skills in consulting and coaching. They've actively networked with people at other companies. They also get laid off. Are they happy? No. Are they destroyed? Not at all. Within weeks, they're using their reputation and skills to land freelance consulting gigs. Within months, they have a roster of clients and might even be earning more than before. What's the difference? Multiple power sources made them resilient. This concept has a name: anti-fragility. Coined by the author Nassim Taleb, it describes things that don't just survive stress, they get stronger from it. When you have multiple sources of power, you become anti-fragile. An attack on one source can actually strengthen the others. Losing your job might force you to finally build that business you've been dreaming of. A painful breakup might force you to discover a new level of independence. A financial setback might force you to learn valuable new skills to create income. So how do you start building this system for yourself? First, audit your current power sources. Be brutally honest. Where does your power come from right now? Your job, your looks, a specific relationship? List them out. Second, identify your single points of failure. Which source, if it disappeared tomorrow, would leave you in ruins? That's your biggest vulnerability. Third, deliberately build alternatives. If you're too dependent on your job, start a side hustle, build your savings, and network externally. If you're too reliant on one relationship for your happiness, invest in your friendships and your own personal growth. If you only have one core skill, start learning complementary ones. Fourth, you have to maintain all these sources at once. Don't let any of them wither. This takes effort, yes, but think of that effort as your insurance premium against catastrophic failure. And fifth, test your resilience. Ask yourself regularly, if I lost X tomorrow, would I be okay? If the answer is no, you know exactly where you need to focus your efforts. But here's where it gets really interesting. Multiple power sources don't just protect you, they create explosive opportunities. When you have skills in different domains, you can combine them to create something totally new. When you have resources from different places, you can deploy them in creative, strategic ways. The whole becomes far greater than the sum of its parts. When you have multiple sources of power, you become impossible to hold back because blocking one path leaves so many others open. You become impossible to break because damaging one source barely makes a dent in your overall strength. You become truly unstoppable. This is real invincibility. Not a single perfect shield, but a web of defenses so vast and varied that no single blow can take you down. Now for our final and perhaps most potent psychological principle, embrace controlled aggression. Most people operate at the extremes. They're either too passive and get walked all over, or they're too aggressive and create enemies everywhere they go. The sweet spot is controlled aggression. It means being peaceful by default, but absolutely savage when necessary. This combination makes you someone nobody wants to mess with. Machiavelli famously said it's safer to be feared than loved. But the true ideal is to be respected, and respect comes from this balance. People respect those who are kind but not weak, patient but not a pushover. The most powerful person in the room is often the calm one who everyone knows is capable of decisive action. Here's what this looks like. 95% of the time, you are reasonable, cooperative, and a pleasure to deal with. You give people the benefit of the doubt. You're not looking for a fight. But that other 5% of the time, when someone crosses a clear boundary, disrespects you, or tries to take advantage of you, your response is immediate, decisive, and unforgettable. You show them, without a shadow of a doubt, that testing you was a grave error in judgment. This contrast is what creates the power. If you're a bulldog all the time, people just learn to avoid you or fight back. If you're a doormat all the time, they'll wipe their feet on you forever. But when you are overwhelmingly calm and then suddenly overwhelmingly firm, people learn to respect your boundaries without you ever having to raise your voice. In business, you can be a fair negotiator who seeks win-win outcomes. But when a partner lies or breaks an agreement, you enforce the consequences swiftly and publicly. People will learn fast that your trust is not to be trifled with. Your reputation for fairness will be matched only by your reputation for enforcing it. Start building your power today, not as a single tower, but as a vast, interconnected network. You have the ability to become anti-fragile, resilient, and truly powerful. Thank you so much for watching. If this resonated with you, make sure to like, subscribe, and hit that bell so you don't miss our next video on mastering your psychology. See you next time.